Rain poured down relentlessly that night in downtown Chicago. Cars hissed past on wet streets, their headlights slicing through the curtain of drizzle. Jason Miller hunched his shoulders against the cold, clutching his coffee as he hurried from his office. It had been another endless day at the marketing firm, the kind that drained his soul. All he wanted now was to get home, shower, and forget about everything. But as he passed under the bridge near Franklin Street, something made him stop. A faint sound, someone coughing then muttering softly. In the dim light, Jason saw a man sitting against the wall, wrapped in a tattered blanket. The man's face was weathered, his beard overgrown, his clothes soaked through. A cardboard sign beside him read, "I once had a life. I'm just trying to start again." Jason hesitated. Normally he would have walked right by, like everyone else. He wasn't unkind, just cautious. But something about the man's eyes stopped him. They weren't pleading. They were tired, yes, but there was dignity there, a quiet strength beneath the exhaustion. "Hey, you okay?" Jason asked, his voice tentative. The man looked up, startled. "I'll be fine. Don't worry about me," he rasped, pulling the blanket tighter. Jason took a breath. "You look freezing. Have you eaten?" The man shook his head. "Had a coffee yesterday morning." "That counts as breakfast, right?" he said with a faint chuckle that dissolved into a cough. Jason didn't think. He just acted. "Come on," he said, gesturing toward the diner across the street. "Let me buy you a meal. No strings." The man hesitated, then nodded slowly. "You sure about that, man? People usually cross the street to avoid me." Jason smiled. "Maybe they just don't know what they're missing." They walked through the rain together, water splashing around their worn shoes. Inside the diner, warmth enveloped them. The waitress looked up, her expression uncertain when she saw the soaked stranger. Jason gave her a small nod, silently asking her not to judge. "2 coffees. And whatever he wants from the menu," Jason said. The homeless man stared at the menu for a long time, as if trying to remember what hunger felt like. Finally he ordered pancakes, bacon, and scrambled eggs. When the food arrived he ate slowly at first, then with growing urgency. Jason didn't interrupt. He just watched. After a while the man set down his fork, took a deep breath and said, "Haven't eaten like this in 2 years, maybe more." "Thank you." Jason extended his hand. "I'm Jason." "Robert," the man replied. "Robert Hayes." Jason smiled. "Nice to meet you, Robert. So, what happened?" Robert gave a small laugh. "That's a long story, friend. Lost my job at an engineering firm when the company downsized. Wife couldn't handle the stress, left. I tried to keep the house, but, well, the mortgage didn't care about my feelings." Jason frowned. "You were an engineer?" "Mechanical. Worked on designing small turbines." Robert's voice softened. "I loved it. But once you fall through the cracks, it's hard to climb back out." Something inside Jason stirred. He saw not a vagrant, but a man who had once built things, dreamed things, lived like him. They talked for nearly an hour. Robert shared bits of his past, the places he had worked, the people who had once called him sir. Jason listened, his heart growing heavier with each detail. The city outside seemed to fade away. Finally, Jason reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. "Look, I can't fix everything, but I can help. There's a community shelter 2 blocks from here. I'll cover your stay for a few nights. They'll give you a bed, a shower, maybe help you get some job leads." Robert's eyes widened. "Why would you do that for me?" Jason shrugged. "Because someone once helped me when I hit rock bottom. I just want to return the favor." For a moment Robert said nothing. Then he reached across the table and gripped Jason's hand. His grip was strong despite his frailty. "Thank you, Jason. You have no idea what this means." Jason arranged everything. The shelter, a clean set of clothes, even a small prepaid phone so Robert could reach him. When they parted that night, Robert's face held something Jason hadn't seen before. Hope. Days passed. Jason returned to his normal life, but he couldn't shake the image of the man under the bridge. He called the shelter to check in. "Robert Hayes?" he asked. The woman on the line smiled. "Yes, he's here. Been helping out in the workshop. Quiet man. Smart too." Jason grinned. That was enough for him. 2 weeks later, as Jason left work one evening, his phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. "You changed my life, Jason. I'll never forget it. Robert." Jason replied, "I'm glad. Keep going, man." But that wasn't the end. Not even close. The following Monday, Jason's boss called him into the office. "Jason, we have a potential investor interested in our green energy project. I want you to meet him tomorrow morning. He's got experience in turbine design, claims he used to be an engineer. Jason nodded, unaware that the name he was about to hear would stop him cold. The boss flipped through his notes. Robert Hayes. Heard of him? Jason froze, his heart thundering. The same Robert he'd met under the bridge. He managed to nod. Yeah, he said quietly. Yeah, I've heard of him. That night, Jason couldn't sleep. How could Robert go from homeless to potential investor in just 2 weeks? It didn't make sense. Unless there was something about Robert Hayes he didn't know. When morning came, Jason arrived at the office early, his nerves tight. He waited by the conference room door, rehearsing what he'd say. And when the door finally opened and Robert Hayes stepped inside, clean-shaven, dressed in a tailored gray suit, confidence in his stride, Jason realized the truth. Robert wasn't just a man down on his luck. He was someone far more extraordinary. And what happened next would shock everyone. Jason's breath caught as Robert Hayes walked into the conference room. The transformation was staggering. Gone was the gaunt, weather-beaten man from under the bridge. In his place stood a sharply dressed gentleman, hair neatly trimmed, posture upright, and eyes bright with quiet authority. Mr. Hayes, Jason's boss said, shaking Robert's hand, we're honored to have you here. The honor's mine, Robert replied smoothly. His voice was steady now, measured, confident. I've followed your company's work in renewable energy for a while. I think there's great potential here. Jason sat across from him, trying to hide his shock. Robert glanced at him, a faint, knowing smile crossing his lips. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and in that look was a message Jason would never forget. Thank you for seeing me when no one else did. As the meeting began, Robert spoke with the fluency and precision of a true expert. He analyzed their turbine model in detail, pointing out flaws and suggesting innovative improvements. The executives in the room listened intently, some scribbling notes, others exchanging impressed glances. Jason couldn't believe what he was hearing. This man who had been living under a bridge just weeks ago, now spoke like someone who could change the company's future. After nearly an hour of discussion, Robert leaned back and smiled. I'm not here to buy your company, he said. I'm here to invest in your people and your ideas. The world needs more minds who care about solutions, not just profits. Jason's boss was practically glowing. That's exactly our mission, Mr. Hayes. We'd be honored to partner with you. When the meeting ended, everyone left the room in a buzz of excitement, except Jason and Robert. They stayed behind, the silence between them thick with unspoken emotion. I don't understand, Jason finally said. 2 weeks ago you were on the streets? Robert finished, chuckling softly. Yeah. Life has a strange way of testing people. Jason shook his head. Who are you really? Robert sighed, his eyes drifting toward the window. The truth is, I wasn't just an engineer. I was a co-founder of Hayes Dynamics, a renewable tech startup. We had government contracts, investors, everything. Then my partner embezzled millions and I took the fall. The stress broke my family apart. I lost everything. I couldn't find the strength to start again, until that night you stopped. Jason was silent. Robert looked back at him. You treated me like a human being when no one else would. You didn't ask what I'd done wrong, you just helped. That reminded me who I was. Jason swallowed hard. So you really had all this waiting for you? Robert smiled faintly. No. I rebuilt it. I called some old contacts, started pitching new designs, and within days, doors started opening again. I didn't tell them where I'd been. I didn't need pity. I just needed purpose. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out an envelope. And now, Jason, I want to offer something to you. Jason frowned. To me? Robert handed him the envelope. Inside was a check. 6 figures. Jason's hands trembled. What is this? A partnership offer, Robert said simply. You believed in me when I had nothing. I want to believe in you. You've got vision and heart. That's what this world needs more than business degrees. Jason was stunned. I can't take this. You don't owe me anything. Robert leaned forward. It's not charity. It's faith. I'm starting a new company, one that hires people who've fallen through the cracks. Veterans, single parents, ex-inmates, the homeless, anyone who just needs a second chance. I want you to help me run it. Jason was speechless. He looked at Robert, seeing the same man from the diner, but now with fire in his eyes. You're serious? As serious as rain, Robert said with a grin. We'll call it Havenworks. A place where broken paths can still lead somewhere good. Jason laughed, shaking his head in disbelief. You realize this sounds insane? Robert chuckled. Most good ideas do at first. By the following month, Havenworks was born in a renovated warehouse near the Chicago River. Its walls were painted bright white, its floors lined with desks built by former carpenters and electricians. Many of them people Robert had personally recruited from shelters. Jason handled operations while Robert focused on partnerships. They worked long hours, drank too much coffee, and built something real, something human. The media caught wind of their story soon after. A local journalist ran an article titled, "From Street Corner to CO, the Homeless Man Who Gave Second Chances." The story went viral. Overnight, donations poured in, resumes flooded their inbox, and offers of collaboration came from across the country. But for Robert and Jason, the real reward wasn't the fame. It was watching lives change before their eyes. There was Sarah, a single mother who had lost her job after a medical emergency. Within weeks at Havenworks, she became one of their best data analysts. Then there was Marcus, a veteran who had been sleeping in his car. Robert trained him personally to work in design. Each person who walked through those doors carried a story, and left with dignity. One evening, as the sun dipped over the skyline, Jason stood by the window of their modest office. Robert joined him, coffee in hand. "Crazy how far we've come, huh?" Jason said. Robert smiled, gazing out at the city. "You know what's even crazier? It all started with a meal. One simple act of kindness." Jason nodded. "Guess it really doesn't take much to change a life." Robert turned to him, his tone soft. "You didn't just change mine, Jason. You reminded me that humanity isn't lost, it's just waiting for someone to notice." They stood there in silence, the hum of the city below like a heartbeat. Months later, Havenworks received an award from the mayor's office for its contribution to social innovation. Cameras flashed, people applauded, and Robert gave a short speech. "When I was at my lowest," he said, "one man stopped and saw me. Not as a problem, but as a person. That's all any of us really want, to be seen. Tonight, I dedicate this award to everyone who's ever been invisible. Your story isn't over yet." The crowd erupted in applause. Jason felt a lump in his throat as he watched his friend speak. This man who had once been a stranger, now a symbol of hope. After the ceremony, Robert approached him with a grin. "You ready for the next chapter?" Jason laughed. "What's that supposed to mean?" Robert pulled out a folder labeled Global Expansion Proposal. Jason raised an eyebrow. "You're unbelievable." "Maybe," Robert said, "but I've learned something. When kindness goes viral, it changes the world." And it did. In the years that followed, Havenworks grew into a national movement. Branches opened in New York, Seattle, and Los Angeles. Thousands of people, once forgotten, found jobs, homes, and purpose. Every time Jason saw a struggling soul on the street, he remembered that rainy night, the decision that changed everything. Because sometimes helping one person doesn't just change their life, it changes the world.